Today we're very, very excited to have Carolyn Dunn here with us. She's going to be talking to us about Amazon Alexa. And if we could just give her a really warm round of applause.
Could Amazon Echo be that next frontier? Is really what we're here to explore today. I made a little introduction on my Echo show here, so let me try that. I'm going to say, launch Caroline Dunn.
Hello Woodstock WordPress Meetup group. My name is Alexa, and Caroline Dunn created this skill to show you how to highlight words while scrolling down. Caroline Dunn created the Storytime Baby Einstein Alexa skill, and 15 other skills.
And I made that last night for y'all today. So first of all, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. My name is Caroline Dunn. I went to Georgia Tech. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in electrical engineering from Georgia Tech. I went on to do an MBA in marketing, decided to have a little career change there. I am one of the first 1,000 Amazon Alexa developers, and so I started this in 2016. So 2016 is not that long ago, and so this is really, really new, and a lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about is really, really new and may not be correct tomorrow when Amazon decides to change things too. I also have a YouTube channel. I'm Caroline on YouTube, and I have 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you're interested in learning more about maybe more around smart home things, I do a lot of, hey, here's how you set up a plug, here's how you set up a switch, here's how you do stuff with Alexa. So I've got a ton of videos on Alexa on smart home, and I was featured on the front page of the Skill Store the first week of December of last year, and I am a 2018 New York City Marathon finisher, and my coach, so one of my clients is Kids 2, they're here in Atlanta, and they wanted the Baby Einstein Storytime skill to be done. So if you want to see a little preview of it, this hadn't even been invented yet, and they had just come out with the Echo show, but because they felt like their story, Baby Einstein, was a very visual thing, they insisted the whole thing be done for Echo show. And this is one of the very first skills that that was ever created for the Echo show because of all the screens that they did. So anyway, but they wanted to make an interactive skill for kids so that they could be part of that Baby Einstein story. So they did, so out of this, they just wanted to get a meeting with Amazon, and they got to meet with Amazon because they made the skill. So that was, yeah, they were just trying to get on the radar here for Amazon. I'm going to talk about one of the things on the agenda that we published was how I got featured on the front page of the Alexa Skill Store, and I was featured for my skill called Fork Ornaments. And this is the screenshot from the week that I was on the front page. So they have, if you go to Amazon.com, you can pull down on skills, featured skills, or from your app on your phone, you can go to featured skills. So this is the front page. This is equivalent to being on the front page of the App Store if you had created a mobile app. And so there I am. So I'm going to call this story time, because I'm going to tell you a little story about how I was called and how I got to be featured on the front page. I have about 12 to 15 skills out on the Skill Store right now. And what I do is I simply just make one of each kind. So what Amazon does is they release new functionality every month or every couple months or something, and then they say, oh, you can make a skill that does this, or you can make a skill that does that includes this. So I just make one of every single kind. For every skill that's out here, I got something from Amazon, whether it was a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, or an Echo Dot, to show portfolio to my clients to say, oh, you want that kind of skill? Okay, I've made that, let's look at that kind of skill. They have their own criteria, what they're looking for, what they want to feature. And they came up with the criteria of, hey, it's November, let's think about what holiday skills we can feature, and they wanted to feature a premium skill. Now, does anybody know what a premium skill is? But premium skill is, so y'all have apps on your phone. This is all equivalent to apps. You have an app on your phone, and then you're playing with your app, and it says, hey, do you want to upgrade for 99 cents? Y'all familiar with that? Yeah. Okay, that's what this is. There's an add-on you can buy within the skill itself for real money, and it unlocks something else that it can do, that it couldn't do before. So because there's a rev share, because they take a cut of that money, they want to feature more skills where users spend real money.
And the skill is like an app.
Yeah, skill is like an app,
Like
yeah.
a voice app.
Basically, yeah. But I'll go more into detail about that. But yeah, they wanted to feature something that where they would make more money. Makes sense, right? Okay, so my skill at that point had no traffic, nobody ever used it, and it had no ratings. You know, you could rate a skill, you could rate an app. Nobody had used it, and there were no ratings. But they wanted to feature it because there were so few skills that charged a premium that they just had to go with what they got. So they saw mine out there, so they did it. So they had to call the phone number listed on my shopping account. Okay, I'm still holding on to a landline phone number, it's now a VoIP number, from 20 years ago. And so I can see my phone ring, and this is the phone number I give to everybody I do not want to speak to. I am standing over the phone as it's ringing, and I'm like, I'm not picking that up. It's somebody I don't want to talk to. So they have to leave a message on my VoIP line, and then he has to send an email saying, hey, I just left you a voicemail. Can you please call me back? I'm from Amazon. And then so when he said he was from Amazon, and then he sent me an email with his name at Amazon.com, I was thinking, maybe I should take this call. I didn't even know what he wanted. Okay, he was just like, I saw your skill, and and he named the skill 4 ornaments. I'm like, nobody's ever used that skill. There's something there. I was like, oh my gosh. But I saw his email came from at Amazon.com, so that's why I called him back. So I call him back. He says, okay, let's set up a phone meeting for next week. I need 40 minutes of time to go over stuff I want you to do for your skill. I'm like, it needs a complete overhaul. Really, we're going to cover that in 40 minutes. Sure. All right. So we get to the conference call, and he sits there and he says, okay, these are the minimum things you have to have in order for us to even think about getting you featured. And he says, we're going to go through this 40 minutes, and at the end of it, if you make all of these changes, you still might not be featured. I can't guarantee that you're going to get featured by Amazon. Okay, I'm not the final end-all be-all decision maker on who gets placed where. I have to be honest with you. But I have experience in getting people featured on Amazon, and here are my recommendations of what I think they are looking for a front page app. And so then he goes into, the first part of the call is minimum things that you have to do, that anybody who wants to get featured has to do. They were really, really tiny things. They were like, move a decimal point here, move this, it was really small items. Then he goes into nice to haves. And this is where you really have to start listening, because he's really giving you the keys to the holy grail at this point of what they're looking for. Okay, so at the point of this skill, okay, I had made a skill and it had premium content. And premium, okay, quote unquote premium content. So basically it was core ornaments was, hey, launch core ornaments, and then it was, if you want to unlock more crafts, this is basically you make crafts with quartz. That was what the skill was. And basically it was like, okay, how many quartz do you want to work with? I will make I will tell you how to make a craft with that number of quartz. Yes.
I have a question. So this seems very visual, but
Yes.
a skill, you're just talking them through it. There's nothing to see, right?
That was the problem. At that point, I hadn't even done these projects yet. Okay, I looked them up on the internet. Okay, and all Alexa did at this point was you say, I have 3 quartz, and it says, with 3 quartz, you should make a reindeer. And she just verbally told you how to make it. There was no visual, there was nothing. So he's like, well, we just launched the Echo 10, the Echo Show 10, 2nd generation, and it would be really nice if you made some screens to go along with it, because it's a very visual thing. Okay, so I had not done, so there are 10 projects in this thing. Okay, so with 1 quart you make this, with 2 quarts you make that. Okay, I had not done 8 of the 10 projects myself. I had no pictures. I had nothing. I had no materials, nothing. So I have to call my friend, and I have to say to her, hey, I'm having a crafting emergency. I need to come over, use all your stuff, and then make 10 ornaments in 1 day in your basement. And then I took pictures of the step-by-step, first step, second step, third step of each project. So then when you unlock the premium content and say, oh, I have 3 quartz, then it shows you, and you can make a reindeer, and here's how you do it. So first of all, it didn't exist on the Echo Show. It was just verbal. I had to make all the crafts, plus I had to do all the pictures myself, plus I had to recode the entire skill, the entire app in a week. I did just a ton of work not knowing if I was going to get featured or not. And then I had to get the skill approved by Amazon. It's like an app. You have to get it approved. You have to do this. You have to meet all the minimum requirements. I had to get all of that done in a week and then wait for somebody to approve it. And get this, the first day, they had no skills that were done what they call APL. They released a new syntax, a new coding, a way to code or something like that. They released it and they had not actually approved any skills, or they hadn't even started approving skills that use that type of syntax. I was the first one to turn in a skill with that syntax. So this is one of the first, what they call, it's called Alexa Presentation Language, and the acronym is APL. This is one of the first APL skills ever in the skill store. Y'all know the end of the story already. I got featured, and all is well that ends well. I got a huge amount of traffic. I got people buying the skill. I got a stranger to leave me a 5-star review. Thank you, stranger, whoever you are. I so appreciate you buying the skill and leaving me a 5-star review. That's how I got featured. So I don't have any connections. I didn't use my connections to Amazon. I really didn't have anything. It was just being the first one out there.
How do you know you got a lot of traffic? Is there?
Yeah, there's a ton of analytics.
Skill analytics.
Yeah.
So it's not website traffic; it's the traffic within.
Yeah, they keep their own analytics.
Okay, and you have access to it as a skill creator.
Yeah, as the person who made it, yes. The title of this speech is Voice the Next Frontier? And I would say yes, it is the next frontier. So on the left side of the screen, we're talking about how many users of digital voice assistants are there going to be? Are there now, or are they going to be by next year? So the red bar is just the millennials. This is something that really appeals to millennials. So a lot of you guys said here you're operating a marketing agency, right? So what marketing meeting have you been to in the last year that hasn't said, hey, we want to talk to millennials? Who doesn't want to talk to millennials here in this room? Who only markets to non-millennials? And they are going to be 39 million of the users. When I see people who are saying, oh, this isn't going to take off, those are people my age, okay, who are saying that.
This internet thing, so.
Exactly. This internet thing is a phase, okay? All right, and then on the right side, we've got sales, okay, real money, okay? Obviously, Amazon is pushing and pushing and pushing and saying they want to sell these devices. They make money on these devices. This was $180, I think. I don't know how much. I got it for free. So we're talking about, 2017, we're talking about $2 billion, okay, between the US and the UK. 2022, we're talking about $45 billion. This is going the way of the smartphone, is my point. This is the next big thing. And I should have really started with this slide here, April, thank you, is what is an Alexa skill? It is an app on your smartphone. It is an app on your Alexa versus your smartphone. That's essentially what it is. You have to open it or launch it or enable it. You have to say, this is the app I want to use right now. As of right now, there are no paid apps on the store. So every app, you can launch it for free. You don't have to pay upfront. It's like a lot of the apps, it's like 99 cents just to download it. They're all free, but you can add something called freemium, the premium stuff, where you can charge to add additional content, additional functionality to the skill. News, games, entertainment, information. It adds function and content to Alexa. So a lot of people, when they first get their Alexa, they're going to say, oh, it doesn't know everything. It doesn't do everything, right? That's the first comment I always get. Oh, it's not smart. Well, look at your smartphone. If you didn't have all those apps on your smartphone, what would it be? Same thing, right? So everybody delete, okay, right now, everybody delete all the apps off your smartphone.
Easy there.
So that's where the brands really come in. This is the next marketing tool. Is you want to have, even if at the beginning, I mean, the App Store was what, 10 years ago, 12 years ago now at this point. At the beginning, we all had really crappy apps on the App Store. We just put out an app just to prove that we could put out an app on the App Store, right? And it didn't even have to do anything. Now they're really fancy, okay, now they do really awesome things. My assumption here, where I'm going with this, is that this is the next app store. Alexa skills is that next. Right now, as of May of 2018, Amazon does have the lion's share of the market. Okay, that's why we spend so much time talking about Alexa. And then Google is actually moving up. And I have a post on this on my LinkedIn. If you go through my LinkedIn post, I do have a post about Google, where they're going, and what's going on with them. They are actually gaining in market share. It is because the retailers are pushing Google Home versus Alexa, because on Alexa, they're afraid that you're only going to buy more stuff from Amazon and take money away from Target. So of course Target, they want to push a Google Home versus an Alexa. That's why Google is rising. And then there's Apple, Sonos, but right now, to my understanding, it's more than 50% Alexa. And then the slide I had on the left is the App Store. Okay, so this is a historical slide of where the App Store was. We had no apps, and now nobody's willing to delete all their apps off their phone. That's my prediction, is we're going the way of that App Store. So what about Google? So I have a Google over there, a Google Home over there. Y'all want to hear a funny story about how I obtained that Google Home?
Yes.
Barter system. Found somebody on Craigslist, and he was like, I will trade you I bought a Google Home, I don't like it, I want an Alexa instead. I will trade you my Google Home for your Alexa. So I traded him 2 of my dots for his 1 Google Home. We talked about Alexa skills. It's an app like your smartphone. So do they have the equivalent? Do they have a skill for Google? April, the smart one in the group, has said, is it an action on Google? Why, yes, you are correct. Yes, action on Google, and that is, but they're not pushing it like Amazon's pushing it. So they're taking a different strategy about it. They want their device to be able to do everything without having a bunch of apps on it. And they do have an advantage in that when you say, hey Google, tell me this, it's actually doing a real Google search. And we all love doing Google searching right now. Actions is the same thing as a skill. It is a brand coming out there and saying, okay, when you want this, it's going to give you that brand. Same thing as what we do on Alexa, but for Google, but they're not pushing that agenda. Yeah, Amazon is investing in skills. This is, when I got featured on the front page, this is the tablet view of it. They don't have a page for actions on Google. They don't have hey, this is like the top action on Google. I looked and looked, I could not find that. And then I talked about, they're having all these contests, and I'm getting all these free shirts and free dots, and I got 3 pairs of socks last year. So Amazon's putting in all their own money and time and resources. They have people who are Alexa evangelists, that's their sole job, is to do webinars and teach people about how to code for Alexa, how to make these skills. And they have come to Atlanta twice in the past year and each time done a full day, 1-day coding session on how to code for Alexa, how to make an Alexa skill. Free.
When are they coming again, or do you know yet?
I do not know yet. But yeah, they do these workshops for free.
Where do they advertise that? Do they advertise it like on this page, or?
I'll show you. You have to sign up for a developer account, and they'll send you an email on developer. Plus, they've got a blog. Plus, they've got their website. But it's all based off of developer.amazon.com.
So, do they have a developer's toolkit, some sort of proprietary?
I'll show you that.
Skill builder.
I think what's so weird and interesting to wrap my mind around is I kind of consider these devices as like an extension of, okay, well, I'm going to buy something on Amazon, let me do it through my dot. But that's not really the thing with these devices. They're turning into almost like another smartphone alternative, right? Like they're not just an extension of the Amazon Marketplace. It's going to be like a whole new thing on its own.
Yeah. That's what they're trying to be.
Right.
They're trying to be
Like I could get golf lessons on there
Yeah.
and just create a skill and put it on.
So it's kind of like the Super Bowl, arguing over who had the better team, Patriots or Rams. Instead of going to Google and arguing about the points you find, Alexa, tell me which one's the better team, or tell me about this. It's friction.
Yeah.
We've gotten lazy.
The guy who invented the Alexa actually did a speech here in Atlanta about a year ago at ATDC, Fifth Street, Times Square, and he said that he invented it because he said he didn't understand why his TV didn't say, hey, turn on channel 2, and it just didn't work like that. He didn't understand why that wasn't already out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's where Alexa started, was in the remotes, right, for the Fire Sticks,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that where Alexa
Yeah.
first
It is,
showed
yeah.
up? Because that's the first time I saw her.
Yeah,
It
you
was
can
on
do the
the Fire
voice
Sticks.
command.
Yeah.
So they've been working on this a lot longer than we even know. Anyway, so let's talk about the contest. The contest, first of all, when we agreed to this like a long time ago, I didn't realize the contest deadline was last week. So the contest deadline has already passed, sorry. Aww. But just to let you know, they do these contests pretty often. If you're interested in competing, this is a great way. A lot of people compete for exposure, not necessarily the money. But of course, the money is really important too. $20,000 for the winner, $5,000 for 10 finalists, $3,000. There are other prizes for $3,000 you could win. Everybody who participates gets an Echo Dot 3rd Gen, and most people will also get a Fire TV stick as well too. So you're going to get something just for entering. And then why do they do this? They're trying to sell more of these devices at the end of the day. One, and number two, the thing I called APL. Alexa presentation language, that just came out. It's in beta. They don't know. They just want people to bang on it so they can find all the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
So they hired a bunch of bug finders for $150,000. That's cheap.
It's not like Microsoft.
That's cheap. Okay, for $150,000 to find every bug in your syntax. I'll go into that. It's Node.js. Y'all do JavaScript?
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's JavaScript. That's what we're going to be doing. I entered this contest. Would y'all like to see my entry?
Yes.
There it is. Alexa, launch running flows.
Welcome back to Running Clothes Advisor. For apparel recommendations based on the weather, say current weather, or if you'd like to specify conditions, say my inputs to start the advisor.
Current weather.
Male or female.
Female.
With temperatures at 65 degrees Fahrenheit and winds at 7 miles per hour, my best recommendation for your running outfit is a short sleeve moisture wicking shirt, sports bra, shorts or running skirt. Feel free to adjust based on your personal preference. I always recommend moisture wicking clothing, running socks, and a good pair of running shoes with every outfit. There is possible rain in your vicinity, and you may consider wearing a running cap as well.
How long did it take you to develop that app?
A long time. So I'd actually released it last year as just a verbal, and then I had to rewrite the entire thing based on with all the pictures this year. So quite a while because I had to sit there and learn the syntax first, and then I made all the images myself, and then I had to code it.
That application has so many ramifications and other verticals, it's unbelievable.
But I know about running.
I know, but I'm just saying in other
Yeah.
applications, just what you showed there could be
Okay, so I'm
utilized in so many other things.
I'm pulling the Open Weather API and pulling the temperature, the conditions, the humidity, and the wind speed. And I'm putting it into my algorithm that determines the level of clothing that you need to wear. That's what it does.
So Open Weather API?
Open Weather. Mark warned me before we did this on what the big question was going to be for all of you in this room. Voice search. Y'all, you want your company to come up when you ask Alexa. I know the last meetup y'all had was about SEO. Y'all have a lot of, and April said you have a lot of meetups about SEO. So since you've had all these, since your last meeting, who's figured out SEO? They've got their company #1. Y'all with computers, everybody with your computer, y'all don't know me except for Mark, okay? Pull up a Google search, type in Caroline Dunn, D-U-N-N. Caroline Dunn's a very common name.
I got
Yeah.
.org.
I got that.
Yeah, I own CarolineDunn.org. Yes, I've got Caroline Dunn on Facebook. I got Caroline Dunn on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn, the mobile marketing co-chair.
Yes, I'm the mobile marketing co-chair. That's me. Yes, I'm a
Meetup today.
So it's the same SEO principles as what you see on Google. So as I mentioned, Google Home is actually doing a Google search. It's the same thing with Alexa, except they don't want to do Google search because they're competitors. A lot of times they do Bing searches or Yelp searches or anything else. It's the same thing. You can't game the system. These aren't people who were born yesterday and you're like, oh, I'm going to make my company come up #1. If I game the system, it doesn't work that way at all.
But SEO is all about the keywords you type in, and so you're saying it's all about the
It's the same thing. It's keywords.
But I asked Alexa lots of searches, like I would type into Google, and she didn't know really any of them. And Google knew a couple more. But how does it work for us at this point now when Alexa didn't know any of the answers to things that I would have typed in?
And that's why we've got to make these skills. Because yes, she doesn't know everything. That's new. She doesn't know everything.
Oh, so you're saying the skills are going to serve up the results?
So skills are starting. So if you say something and it matches with the skill name, she will now start saying, "Oh, I don't know that, but there's a skill called that. Would you like me to enable it? Would you like to try it?"
So right now she's not accessing the Silk browser because that Silk is what, so I have a lot of Fire tablets, and when you're doing search on a Fire tablet, it defaults to the Silk browser. Is that what Alexa uses?
I don't think so.
So she's not accessing any
y'all want to know about
database
real
like
estate agents, right? So I did a real estate agent search and it pulled up all these Yelp results.
Because y'all probably have skills.
So without pulling up the Yelp skill. It just pulled up and decided it wanted
She's not going outside of her knowledge base. She's not using maybe the Google.
Yeah, she's not doing a Google search. A lot of times she's doing a Bing search. A lot of times she's doing a Wikipedia search too.
So Bing and that's interesting.
But it's the same thing as if you're optimized for SEO, it's the same. You're going to be optimizing for Alexa. It's about having the best content, the right keywords, all the good stuff that we learned last month on SEO.
So if you said, "Hey Alexa, what should I wear to go running today?" then that's when she would pull up your skill.
No, she's just, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh. But there are situations where I've asked her something and she's like, I don't know that, but I think this skill might help you with that.
Can you ask her to do a Google search and find it?
Why don't you ask her to do a Google search? So I once accidentally said Alexa to the Google thing one time. He goes, that's not my name.
I did ask who's better.
So, yes. So, that does remind me. Okay. Alexa, who's your favorite YouTuber?
Caroline is my favorite YouTube channel.
No way.
So I get asked that question. That's the most asked question I ever get is how do you change the answer? And you can't change the answer. I just showed you I changed the answer. So there on your app, on your smartphone, you can go in and change the answers to certain questions.
My son changes my nickname through Siri all the time to have my phone call me something ridiculous.
Alexa, it's Jeff Bezos.
Cute.
Jeff Bezos is a fictional character.
But it only works on my device. I did not change it on everybody's device.
So, doing SEO, we focus a lot on Google because it's got 80% or higher than search results. I do have a client that does it very well in Bing, and so we continue to just work with Bing on him, and he gets some results for it. If Alexa, as you say, may default to using Bing, this could be a cause or a case for SEOs like us to say, we might want to get our clients to spend a little bit more money and pay us to do a little bit more, Bing effort as well.
You want to be on all. You want to be on.
And if this
all
is the
them.
future, this is one place where they could, if they're saying we're not doing Google, this is one place where they could really get some market share, quickly.
But then keep in mind, I don't represent Amazon. They could change that tomorrow. They might stop doing Bing searches tomorrow. I don't make that kind of decision. And obviously I don't know that. So tomorrow they might say, oh, we're going to do So, and obviously, it's like the Google algorithm. They don't release what they're actually doing and when they're going to do it until after it's already done. And you kind of have to find the hard way. So just keep that in mind. But it is the same. To me, it's the same thing.
So
Cortana
the spot was over there. Is that part of Alexa's spot? Is that new generation, or is that the new generation between the two of them with the video?
They are all the new generation. They want to have a device to cover everybody for every scenario possible in your home. So they're saying this, you buy this and put in your kitchen. The spot, they're saying put in your bedroom. This, you want to put in your living room. They're trying to sell you as many devices as they possibly can for every single room in your home. I recommend that your Alexa skill name be the same as your domain name. So y'all spend a lot of time buying domain names, looking at domain names, right? That's like a big thing.
And hoarding domain names. That's fine.
Parking. We like to call it parking.
Parking. Yes, that's nice.
Nice parking domain name.
Get a lot,
right? Parking lot. Yes. So when you are creating your Alexa skill, your app, you want to represent your company or your domain name, right? So we did one for Balance Running last year, and so we did Balance Running, and I had to prove that we owned the domain name Balance Running. And so you have to prove ownership of your domain name and say, I'm making a skill on behalf of Balance Running. I own the domain name. Here's a screenshot to prove I own the domain name. Or you can send yourself an email saying, I own and my name at Balance Running and an authorized person who can do that. So y'all are familiar with that. So everybody wants to know if they can make their domain name one word. That's the most common question I get. And it's a domain name they don't own, obviously. They're like, I want my skill to be called Tide. Open Tide. So this is Amazon. Do you think they allow you to do that? No. So they do not allow one-word Alexa skill names unless you actually own that domain name. And generally speaking, if your skill is representing a company or a brand or something like that, you have to prove you're an authorized representative of that domain name. So I always recommend your domain name is you prove that you're doing business as that name and that's your skill name and it all makes sense. It has to be something you are. You can't just put down, oh, I own Tide and I'm going to make the Tide skill. You cannot do that. So more on how WordPress is like creating Alexa skill. Okay, so on WordPress, which is what I have on the left side of my screen, we have domain plus hosting, right? You buy a domain name and then you have to host it somewhere. Come on. I need a little nodding. Okay, so Alexa skill, there is developer.amazon.com and then AWS, everybody is affiliated with AWS, that's where you host, generally speaking, that's where you host your Alexa skill, right? So you have the Alexa skill front end and you've got the Alexa skill back end. And those are the two accounts that you need in order to create one.
Okay, I was going to ask you, do you host your skill on your own Amazon account, AWS account, or do you have to submit it and they host it for you?
You host it on your own AWS account.
Really?
Oh, they got that.
So if that goes bananas, that could cost you a little money for traffic, right?
Actually, no.
Actually, no.
No, because they have a program that you sign up, and it's under Alexa Dev Perks, where you get $100 every month credit to your account on your AWS account to pay for any and all usage on your AWS account. So developer.amazon.com is free. There's no credit card. There's no way for them to charge you to do anything on developer.amazon.com. That's completely free. AWS you have to pay for. Lambda hosting you have to pay for how many hits you use. But you sign up for this program, it's $100 free credit to your AWS account every month automatically. And then if you go above that, they actually pay you. So if you have the top skill and it goes bananas, they have their metrics on the top skills. So they'll pay you. They'll not just cover your AWS costs, they'll pay you extra money because you're the top skill. Even though you don't charge for your skill at all. The top 10 skills in every category get paid. So one guy, he said he was out of work, he didn't know what to do, and so he went to one of these free Alexa workshop seminars. It was an all-day thing, and he made word of the day or something like that on news briefing, and he says now Alexa pays him $1,500 a month because he's got one of the top news briefing skills on Alexa.
But news briefing is different than.
Yeah, it is different, but it is a skill that you consider it a skill. And if you have the top skill, they'll still pay you.
Yeah, but he doesn't own the domain word of the day, so how did he get away with that?
He doesn't call it word of the day. He calls it something else.
Okay.
Yeah, so something that gives you a word of the day.
Okay.
And it's and so because he's got the top one, then he gets paid $1,500 a month. And he says that covers his rent every month. one of the things I said we're going to talk about is how to learn for free. So Amazon is putting all their documentation out there. They're putting all their information out there so that you can get to it, and you can get to it for free. So they have documentation. They have webinars on Twitch, and they have office hours, and they have who in here uses GitHub? Okay, yeah. So they have a ton of examples on GitHub, and that's what I'm going to show you in the live coding session. All right, so coding. All right, so y'all are WordPress people. So y'all know HTML, HTML5.
Some more of us
Yeah.
are business or
Okay.
designers,
All right.
but we have some.
Some of you HTML5 people here. CSS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Same people. PHP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. More PHP people. Thank you. JavaScript. All right. JavaScript. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So Alexa. The best examples are Node.js. Node.js is a flavor of JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, it's going to be pretty easy to turn that into Node.js. They have a lot of samples in Python. Who here's Python? Two people. Okay, 2 people on Python. Java, they've got some samples on Java. I don't think their samples on Java are any good. And then they got a couple samples on C#. Anybody on? So for me, it's about samples, okay? And so it's not so important that you know JavaScript so truth be told, when I started this in 2016, I did not code in any of these languages at all, period, okay? I had never written anything in JavaScript, much less Node.js. Last year, I was interviewed by CNBC. I was very excited to get an interview with CNBC. You could make an Alexa skill with a website called Storyline. And their whole thing was to create an Alexa app without coding. And so I bring this up because the number one question, so I just went through this whole PHP, like Node.js thing that you kind of need to know in order to do Alexa skills. Well, at that point, somebody had a website called Storyline, and you could make an Alexa skill without knowing how to code. And so that's the interview she wanted to do, with somebody who didn't know how to code. Well, that was me. I didn't know how to code when I started this, okay? So, and who made all their, she wanted somebody who used a Storyline or some sort of app that made a skill that did that, okay? So I had never used Storyline. I never heard of Storyline, so my interview never got published.
The storyline still active.
That's you know where I'm going with this. Thank you, April.
Sorry.
Yes. So I was like, well, wouldn't you have to pay Storyline? So I was like, Storyline is going to host all of, you asked about the hosting. So Storyline was hosting all the backend, the AWS stuff, on their own AWS account. So you didn't have access to your own skill.
So they got the money.
The guy who started Storyline raised $700,000 to get Storyline started, and it was free. The whole thing was free. They didn't charge a single cent to anybody for anything. So they published over 1 million apps through Storyline.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And then this year, Storyline is gone, and now it's $99 a month. And now you can't touch your own skill. And that was just an announcement they just made one day. So no more Storyline. It's now called I don't know how to pronounce this, okay? And then their competitor was Storyflow. They had to go to the same model too at the same time, and now they're called VoiceFlow. So if you have $99 a month, you can do this without coding. But keep in mind, you're paying $99 a month.
Who gets the money if you're one of the top 10?
You do.
You
Because
still
you own
get
that
it, they
skill.
don't get it.
Yes. But think about if you are working with a client, like I work with a WordPress client, today, they pay you up front to create it, and they don't pay you every month to keep it hosted. So right now, what I do is, I get paid up front to create a skill for a company, and then either they host it on their own AWS account if they're sophisticated like a Kids 2, or generally speaking, I host it on my own account, and then Amazon credits my AWS account, so I don't have to pay every month. But now, it's $99 a month, or some sort of amount of money, depending on how many hits you get, to pay somebody else to do it. So, but all those people who did their apps their skills through Storyline, they can no longer change their app without paying. So they got locked out of their own skill.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Very careful where you set up your
That's like the same as why you don't create your whole platform on Facebook, because you don't own Facebook. They could take it away in a second. You have to own your own.
Absolutely.
Own your own content on your own platform, on something that you can control. scroll that you pay for because you have rights. I wanted to do a live coding session so y'all could see what it took to create a skill. If y'all are interested in that, it is 12:42. I think I can do it in less than 30 minutes.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah. So before I go into live coding, let's
We have to stay till 1:30.
Okay.
So here's the question and dilemma that I'm trying to answer for my clients. How can I take voice and integrate it into my brand so that no matter where my customers or prospects go, I show up?
Are you talking about the voice search? Are you back to voice search? Because we
Well,
already covered that.
I know that voice search is one thing, but how can I leap from my brand being on
The
computers on a platform to Alexa? Or does it allow me to move over, like one of the things that we were talking about earlier? Alexa, describe for me Cornerstone Media Group. Well, it didn't have an answer.
Google Home.
Google Home had an answer, what I wanted, but is that even possible now? Do I create an app?
Does Cornerstone Media have a Wikipedia page?
No, we don't. That's a good question.
A lot of times it's doing a Wikipedia search.
That is a great,
Yes.
interesting.
So I follow a lot of experts, and right now I thought that the flash briefings were the things to do. They are the new podcast. Everybody's all about creating a flash briefing right now. I mean, again, and I do see that is totally different than this. One is a podcast almost, one is a phone app.
But the way you create it is the same way you create a skill. It's the same approval process, it's the same everything as in creating a skill. So if you want to do a flash briefing, yeah, we can do a flash briefing.
So clients should be doing both of them. They should have a flash briefing, they should also have a skill.
But does your client have daily changing content? Flash briefing is you change it every single day.
Oh, okay, thank you, that's very helpful, that's very interesting. Change it, you can't change it once a week like a podcast? No.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's the whole point of the flash briefing. It's like good morning. It's like you're supposed to do it every day, and it's also in sequential order too. So you can order which order your flash briefings come in, and if you have one that takes a really long time, they're never going to get to yours if yours is below on the thing.
Oh, I see.
Maybe we need to hear the same content every day together.
Yeah, in the same order.
Can you schedule that out, or does it have to be loaded day by day?
You can schedule it out, of course. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that is settings, and then we've got flash briefing under settings, and then so word of the day flash briefing. And so these are the flash briefings that I've chosen. You still have to enable. You have to choose your flash briefings, the ones you want, and then you enable them. You can search. You can edit the order of your flash briefing. You can get more content, so that you can search for more flash briefings on here. So, but the way it works is it's a sequential order. So when I say, Alexa, give me my flash briefing, it starts with word of the day, then it goes to AP, and then it goes to AP Tech News, then it goes to Daily, then it goes to CNN. So it's good if yours is the first one. Let's just say yours is awesome, and it's the first one, and they say it today, and then they say it tomorrow. They're going to get the same one if you don't change it every single day.
Oh, interesting. So I think where this all came from is if you go to Amazon.com and you go to the search bar and say you type in motivational book, because people go to Amazon more than they go to Google for a lot of products, and they type it in, is the flash briefing going to come up, or is it a product, or is it an ad, or is it an Amazon skill? So I think the goal is to start dominating search in Amazon for, you know what I mean, have a skill.
Motivational, what do you
Motivational book.
Well, no, it's going to give you a book. You type in motivation.
Okay, so motivational, I like motivational gifts, that's great.
So it's going to give you,
So
okay.
what I was wondering is, like, a skill going to come up? Is a briefing going to come up? Like, how is Amazon starting to diversify the serves here? Is that, you know what I mean? Like, are they starting to pop
They are
in?
using the same strategy as Google. They want to serve up the best answer that gets the most number of clicks that people are happy with.
Maybe book is
Maybe
going
an
to handle
audio
when I
book.
saw those drop down, so.
Yes.
Jenny, maybe an audiobook. It reads the
Yeah,
first chapter to you or
What's-
something.
Yeah.
While you're
They've got
cooking or
sponsored. Number one is sponsored. You pay for it, and then you've got sponsored, and then like what they consider like a really good book, which I can't say the name of it right here.
Oh,
And then categories, bathtub toys. It's about serving up. It's the same thing. It's about serving up the right answer for your users that they like.
So say I create a skill for, let's just say, SEO. right? Or do a flash briefing on SEO. How do I promote that? Does Amazon promote that for you through here? That it would never come up in the search?
Yeah, it does, it does. So
Okay.
for example, so here I'm gonna type
Okay.
Alexa skills. You can search on Alexa skills,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
So I went to close. Okay, here's mine.
Okay.
It's running close under Alexa skill. And this is my Alexa skill running close.
Okay. So so I know how to gain the Google search for my business,
Okay.
right? How do I gain this?
In the same way you gave Google.
Okay. So the way I do this is I keep creating content and linking to it. Is that how?
It's the same
Okay.
thing.
So it has the same signals that Google would have. So we
Similar. Not exactly the same, similar.
Okay.
Yes, because they can't do exactly the same thing.
Well, no, but I mean, what I'm saying is that it's fresh content, it's social signals, it's links from other people, reviews.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it's the same thing.
So if you just did a general Amazon search and didn't go to skills, but you typed in running clothes, would your skill come up?
No,
Oh,
running
okay.
clothes that they're trying to sell with
Okay,
them.
got it.
Because that's something they sell on this website.
Okay, that's where the money is. That's where the money is.
Any other questions?
So can you embed an ad or sponsors into your skill?
Yeah, can you promote your skills?
So,
Or as you get a number of followers or whatever, there's value in that. And now can you sell a particular brand of running clothes, or have an ad come up or something?
yes, I can.
Okay.
Just gave her an idea.
Yes, well, Tina and I are working on that right now.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. So yeah, right now the running clothes is extremely generic on the clothes that we're recommending, moisture with the clothes, this,
Yeah.
that, and the other.
So it will get to the point where it can recommend skills for you based on your current skills,
Yes, it does that
like your
today.
books and stuff. Okay.
Related skill.
All right, do y'all want to do the live coding session? Do y'all want to see what it takes to do one of these things?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm going to go to developer.amazon.com, and I'm going to go to aws.amazon.com, and I'm going to go to the GitHub page for Alexa. All right, so those are the three websites I need going right now. Let's see, so developer.amazon.com, you can use the same account that you shop with today to create an account on here. It does not take a credit card. It will not cost you a single cent. And if you have an account on developer.amazon.com, they will email you and say free webinar, free workshop, free this, free Echo Dot if you create a skill, free. You will get all of the free stuff that I have received because you have an account on developer.amazon.com. All right, so I'm going to go to Developer Console, and I'm going to go to Alexa Skills Kit. And these are the skills. Some of them are like live, some of them are that I haven't published yet or I haven't sent for approval. You asked about analytics, so let's look at analytics. So I wrote this skill, and it is me opening a can of cat food. That's the entire skill. Okay? And
Wow.
it's my most popular skill. This is like the biggest skill that I've ever written. Yes.
How to open it or just open it?
It's just the sound of the can opening.
Oh, so you can play it for two. That's what I'm running. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's funny, because when
Okay,
Alexa's
so
most
Mike,
popular
give me that's what dial I'm in.
Alexa, open cat food. So I think a lot of people are saying this by accident because you don't have to enable the skills anymore. And I'm the only one out there. I'm the first one who came up with cat foods. And I don't own catfood.com and they approved it because I didn't set it, because it's a 2-word invocation name versus a 1-word invocation name. So I didn't say I want a skill called cat or food. I want a cat food. I'm not representing a company. I didn't say, oh, I represent all the cat food companies. No, it's just the sound of cat food. That's what it is. So I had 27 customers last week. I had 33 sessions, 33 utterances, and the only thing you can do is open it. There are no choices. There's no menu. There's nothing you can do with it. So it will show you last 7 days how many customers you had, how many sessions.
That is hysterical.
That's pretty funny.
Well, let me
utterances, like, so if you have different types of utterances, it will give you like more information. So there are intents, there's only one intent, retention, so like how many people used it 1 week versus the next week versus the next week.
It's almost like this could go viral. They tell their friends, put it on social media and go, don't try this.
Open cat food, yeah.
Open
I
cat
bet
food.
people do it by accident,
Be
like,
labeled and-
oh, I just got Alexa, open cat
That's
food,
what you say.
and then like what is, how is she gonna respond? You asked about analytics, so
Yeah,
that's the analytics part of it. So let's do, so this is github.com/Alexa. This is one of the many links that I asked you to take a picture of. And Node.js, I'd mentioned Node.js. So this is the documentation if you are a Node.js developer. You asked if this was a package. I don't know if this is a package. It's that you don't download a package. It just is what it is. I don't know. I didn't download a package, okay? But this is the syntax. This is the documentation if you are a Node.js developer. So they have this if you are a C# developer, if you are JavaScript or some other different types that I mentioned. But so these right here is a list of the features or a list of different samples that they have. This is the biggest list that they have. So if you go to the C# one, there's going to be half as many examples. That's why I recommend Node.js. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Hello World, and I'm going to download Hello World. Okay, and this is like this is a zip file, and this is all of the files for a Hello World. Okay, and this is the first step to creating your own skill. Now, how would I know how to do this? They have a very detailed tutorial right here. So you download the Hello World, you want to click Get Started, and then it walks you through step by step. So you do all of the steps right here. What do you, Mark? What's your?
Oh, it's great. That's awesome.
Okay, so yeah, you do step one, you do
Incredible.
step two, then it gives you everything step by step. You just gotta
This is
read it.
really fun, Carolyn. Thank you for coming.
Okay, good. I'm glad you like this. Okay, so there's 4 pages of a lot of text to do this. Okay, so obviously I'm not gonna read it to you. I'm just gonna do the live version as if I read all this stuff, because I have. At some point, I did read all this stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go to Find Here, and I'm gonna go to Downloads, and I'm gonna double click, and it's gonna open the Hello World Master. I'm going to rename this, okay, and I'm going to move it onto my desktop, okay. So just to make it easy on myself. The next, I'm going to open Hello World on my desktop here, and there's something called Models. I'm going to go to Alexa Developer Console. I'm going to do Create Skill. So I'm in Alexa. I'm in developer.amazon.com. This is called the front end. I'm going to hit Create Skill, and I'm going to enter. I'm going to create a skill called WordPress. The Woodstock WordPress group, okay? So Woodstock WordPress, all right? And I'm going to make it a custom skill, and there's all these choices. So the flash briefing thing you were asking about?
Yeah. Wait.
Second one. So it's the same thing. Yes. And then if you want to do smart home, like turn on and off my lights, there you go. All right? So there's all. And then I'm going to do self-hosted, which is I'm going to host on AWS. Woodstock WordPress is going to be the name of my skill. All right? Start from scratch. I'm going to do start from scratch. I'm going to choose that. And then it takes me to the build page. So I'm building out the front end right now. There's an invocation name. The invocation name is Woodstock WordPress. I'm going to say, Alexa, launch Woodstock WordPress. That's going to be how we start the skill. We launch the skill. Okay? And then you've got these built-in intents. Fallback intent means I said potato, or something that it wasn't programmed to listen to. Cancel, I said cancel. Help, this is a default. You've got to have a help for every single one. Okay, so if they say help me, then it's got to have some sort of response. You want to get out of the skill, you can say stop. For Hello World, we're going to create a hello intent. Okay, create a custom intent. And then what would you say to, so you've launched Woodstock WordPress and you want to say hello, you say hello and then it's going to say hello back to you, right? So I'm making the Hello World skill just to show you how to do Hello World, all right?
So you're creating the audio file right now.
No, it's not an audio file, it's what it's listening for, not what it's,
Oh,
what it's
I see,
playing.
okay.
So I'm saying hello and then it knows that to invoke the hello
Okay,
intent,
understand.
okay? So when you do these samples, there's something, when you scroll down here, there's something called JSON editor. So then you go into, if you want to see, so I downloaded that zip file, I unzipped it, then I went into models, then I went to enus.json, and I'm going to drag and drop it right here. So that means that, so that's how you use the samples.
It's almost like
Okay,
the
so that's a
samples.
shortcut into
Yeah.
doing it, all right, and then that's how it works. Okay, so this is not gonna work because it changed the invocation name from Woodstock WordPress to Hello World. All right, so I've made so Hello World, if I say hello, it's gonna invoke the Hello World intent. Okay, and I'm just doing the sample as is. So doing the sample as is, I have used their document, I'm gonna hit build model, okay, and then it's gonna build a model, okay? So this is all front end stuff. Now how you connect it to the back end, I said AWS, you want to host it on AWS, how do I connect it to the back end? I'm gonna hit endpoint here, and it says AWS Lambda ARN, and that's how I know to connect it to the back end. So then I need to go to my AWS. AWS, I need to sign in, and I need to create a new Lambda. So Lambda is not an EC2. Lambda is you use for what you pay for. So I want to create a function. Okay, author from scratch, and my function name is going to be Woodstock WordPress. And it's going to be Node.js, 8.0 is what we're up to now. Existing role, so I'm going to choose Lambda basic execution. That's something you need to set up, and the tutorial will walk you through that. I've already done that, so we're going to skip over that, and I'm going to create a function. Alrighty, and then I've created a function. So it's Woodstock WordPress. I need a trigger. What's going to trigger my Lambda function here?
The Alexa skills kit.
Okay, so we've got Alexa skills kit. You got to do the configuration. Configuration required. So you click on configuration required, and it says, "What's your skill ID?" So my skill ID is this. And how do I know what my skill ID is? It came from right here. Copy to clipboard. Copy paste. Hit add, and then I'm going to hit save. Boom, boom, boom. It's done. Alrighty. So we know what our skill ID is. Now we go back to we're on our Lambda skill. What's it going to do when we hit it? Nothing. It's going to do nothing. Okay, is what is going to happen here. All right. So how do I know how to get it to work? All right. The Lambda, the original Lambda is right here. It's in that package I downloaded at the very beginning. I need to do something to make this work. I'm going to hit terminal. So here's the hardest part of this: npm install. All right, who knows how to do an npm install? What's an npm install?
You're installing Node package manager.
So basically, you need to go to nodejs.org, and then you need to install this package. And it's just so you have Node.js on your computer. All right, and that is well documented in that tutorial thing. Run a Node.js. Look at my computer now. It created a new folder, and it created installed all the. So now I'm going to take index through package, and I'm going to compress those 4 files. All right, and it created a compressed file. I'm going to go back into Lambda, all right, and I'm going to upload a zip file. What zip file am I going to upload? Hello world, Lambda, custom, archive.zip. I'm going to upload that file. So I made a complete package. I zipped it all together, and now it is in there. So I'm going to hit save, and there it is. Hello world. All right. So now I want to test this. How do I test it? All right. So I'm going to create a test session, a start session, and this is just to see if it's going to work. So I hit start. So this just launches the skill from my computer versus the Alexa, just to see if the back end works by itself. I'm going to hit test. And yay, it works. Yay. Okay, so yay, it works. So now I've created my function. How do I know what the name of the function is? How do I know how to access this function? It's it's called an ARN. So I'm going to copy that. There's a nice little copy button here. You don't have to do it yourself anymore. And AWS ARN, what do I do with that? I put that in right here. And I'm going to save endpoint. And that's it. All right, so so now I'm going to click over to test. And so if you don't have a device, if you don't have one of these fancy devices, you don't need one. I'm going to turn on testing, and I'm going to say, launch Woodstock WordPress. And then she says, hello. Welcome to, you can say hello, so I'm going to say hello. And then there is usually volume with this. I think that there's no volume with your projector. So then she's going to say hello, okay? So let's try this now. I can just do this on this device. Alexa, launch Woodstock WordPress.
Welcome to the Alexa Skills Kit. You can say hello.
Hello.
Hello world.
And that And that is the sample. That is the sample just to show you how to use the tutorial. So that's if I ran through the whole tutorial, that's what you'd get. So now you wanted to talk about WordPress, you want to talk about your meetup, right? You want to create a skill for your meetup, right? Okay, so let's do that. This is your, do you have a website or is this it?
This is
It. Okay, perfect. That's all we need. Okay, so now we want to make a skill about the WordPress meetup, right? So what we're about, we say, what are you about? It will respond, what are you about? User, this is what the user says, and this is how Alexa's going to respond, right? So if we say, the user says, what are you about? Then Alexa's going to respond, we're a group of local WordPress users. And then what do we have, like, when do you meet? Like, what if I ask Alexa, when do you meet?
First and third Wednesdays.
But do they have to actually ask exactly what are you about?
That's a good question. I'll cover that in a second. And then where do you, what if we just say launch?
That says
Okay, so what do you want it to say when you first launch it? You want to say, welcome to the Woodstock WordPress Meetup group. Okay, and then you can say, you can ask what we are about, where we meet, or when we meet. Right, that could be our opening statement, right? So then let's think about your question. Okay, do you have to say exactly? So this is where Google says you don't have to say exactly the same thing. Alexa's kind of the same way. You don't have to say exactly, but you do want to have like the key ones that you want to do. So what are you about? You could do about. What are we about? About us. So you can have different ones, and same thing for the other one. All right. So this is what. So on the left is what you say. On the right is how she responds. And then you also have to have a help too. So if the user says help, because this is one of those built in, what do you want her to say? You can ask what we're about, where we meet, or when we meet. How about that?
Can you say go to the website meetup.com/.
And and then what are they going to do? Are they going to? So they didn't want to be on their computer in the first place.
Oh, okay.
And no, you cannot hyperlink on this thing to the internet.
Okay, but she could say the website.
Yes.
But that's not helpful because we're trying to stay on the platform.
Hey, how about this? How about how do I register? And you could say you can go to meetup.com. Because how do we make this where they can actually get here? Because they can't get here without registering.
Yeah, they can. You can just show up here at the circuit at the first and third Wednesday. They don't need to. Are you going to turn somebody away?
But you can register. Sarah, could you register via Echo? I'd like to register.
Register me. Alexa,
So
register me.
if you have the API to do a registration, then yes, you could do that. But
Can Alexa make phone calls?
no, you cannot.
What? Really?
Well, you can say, you can say, yeah, call this
Oh, but
phone
not
number.
on
Yes,
a skill.
No.
but not through a skill.
Sorry, I'm
Okay.
confusing
Yeah.
them. Really?
Yes, okay, so we have our key things that we want to say, right? So now, what are we going to do? We're going to change the index here. So I'm going to open this with Visual Studio. So if you don't have Visual Studio, you can do Atom. That's another one that's free, but you need some sort of editor. Or you could, the first one that we didn't have any of these editors, and I didn't know how to code either. So we did it on text. We did a text file. So when they launch the skill, you see skills request. It says, welcome to Alexa Skills Kit. You can say hello. So we're going to change this to say, welcome to the Woodstock Meetup, WordPress Meetup group. And then we're going to change this, copy and paste, and change that. Okay? And then I'm going to take out this simple part. I don't want to change that. Okay, there we go. So that's the first one. Now we've got hello world intent handler, and then she responds hello. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to make 3 of these. I'm just going to copy paste 3 of these. All right. So now we need something. We need to call these some sort of intent handler. Okay. Well, how do we know what intent handler we're going to go for? It is right here under build. You've got the hello world intent. That's how we know which one it is. All right. So I'm going to add a new intent called about intent and create a custom intent. And then, in order to invoke it, we're gonna use these phrases here. So this is the sample utterance. If I say, "What are you about?" it's going to call the about intent. If I say, about us, and what are we about? Those are intents. All right, so it's called the about intent. I need to remember what this is called, so I can put it over here. So I'm going to, oh yeah, it's right here. Hello world intent, about intent, and then I'm going to call this the about intent handler. Okay, about intent handler. All right, so we need to have all of these listed down here at the bottom. All right, about intent handler. We've got intent request. So what do we want to say? We want to say we're going to copy and paste that. All right, and it does not, the syntax of JavaScript, Node.js, whatever you call it, does not like this apostrophe here, so I'm going to put this one, and that is a symbol so it knows that it's a contraction versus a parenthesis. Save, and then next we want to do when do you meet? So we want to add a new intent. I'm going to trash the hello world intent because I don't need that one. Add when meet intent. Create that custom intent. And then so the user would say, when do you meet? Anything else? What would they say?
When is it?
When is it? That's a good one.
How often are the meetings?
How often? So you can just keep on going on and on and on about this. All right, so, and I'm going to call this the when meet intent, and then go back to our code here, and I'm going to change out when meet intent, and call it when meet handler. All right, when do you meet? Okay, we meet on the first and third Thursdays of every month. When meet, I'm going to change that hello world to, we meet on, there it is. Then, same thing for where do you meet? We meet at the circuit in a second. We'll have to change that here in a second. So let's see, I've done when do you meet about, okay, so then we need to do where intent. Okay, so where do you meet? All right.
Where?
Where?
Where is it?
Where is it? All right, so save model, where meet intent. Go back over here, and I'm going to do where meet intent, capitalize a W, where meet intent handler, comma. All right, where meet intent, where meet intent. All right, and the answer is meet at the circuit in Woodstock.
Right above
Where?
it. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, this is right because it's got this has to be a total match to this.
Oh.
So that has to match number one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. All right, so I've got the model built. So now I've got the model saved. I hit save. Now I'm going to build the model. Okay, I've got that going. I've got my code over here going, and then there's a help. What do you want it to say when they say help? You want it to say you can ask. So help is this. All right, so that is help, and then if you say stop or cancel, that's what you're going to get. Or exit, you can exit. So that's everything. All right, let's see if this works. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to take this old file, I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to make a new zip file. I'm going to upload the new zip file. And there's different ways of doing this that would be easier, but just to show you all a consistent method, this is the method I'm going to use. And upload a zip file, upload, and then upload archive, save, okay, and then let's hit test, see if this works. It says, welcome to the WordPress. Okay, that's a good sign. Okay, so we're going to hit test. I'm going to make sure that. Alexa, launch WordPress.
Woodstock.
Welcome to the Woodstock WordPress Meetup group. You can ask what we are about, where we meet, or when we meet.
About us.
We're a group of local WordPress developers, designers, and publishers who get together to share our knowledge and experience, and to meet other WordPress users in the area.
There it is.
Wow.
That is really cool.
Welcome to the Woodstock WordPress Meetup group. You can ask what we are about, where we meet, or when we meet.
Help.
You can ask what we are about, where we meet, or when we meet.
Where do you meet?
We meet at the circuit in Woodstock.
And that's it. And that's how you make a skill.
Cool. That's really cool. That is really awesome. I thought it was really interesting that it triggered on WordPress.
It wasn't supposed to do that. That's not the correct way of doing it. So if you want to publish it, or if you want to, publish it after this, you're gonna have to fill out you have to fill out like 5 pages worth of stuff, and you have to have an icon, and you have to do
Because that
this.
makes the description on.
Yeah, that's the description
That's
that
the
you're
front
gonna
end.
see. So you can't change the description unless you go through an approval. So all of this, they're looking for approvals.
Okay, so this is just live on your device right now?
Yes, and if you want to push it out to everybody, so you got to fill out all this stuff. You've got to have an icon. So if you don't have an icon, you can create an icon. They've got an icon builder.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that makes your icons.
Can you copy skills? So like, for instance, if I hired somebody to do what you just did,
Mm-hmm.
can they transfer that skill to me, or would I need to recreate what they did?
Basically, you'd have to recreate it on your own account.
What if they logged in or?
Well,
Yeah, that you'd have to give them your login password, or create them a developer.
So you can't like export it, so it just has to be built. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can't just transfer it. Well, Amazon can transfer it. That's what happened with Baby Einstein. Is we built Baby Einstein on like our personal accounts, and then like after we had our big meeting with Amazon, they're like, okay, we'll transfer it for you, but it has to be them.
So what kind of calls to action can you have within a skill? Right?
You
So
can't make a phone call.
can't make a phone call.
You can't. It's not a hyperlink. You can't touch the screen and it goes to your website.
You can play a video.
It has to be hosted on AWS.
The video has to be hosted on AWS. So let's say we took this video, right? Posted it on AWS, and we said, as a part of the Woodstock meetup, can we play the video from the last meetup?
Okay, here, I'll show you that one. Alexa, launch wireless technology forum.
Welcome to the Wireless Technology
It's a
Forum.
video,
You can
right
ask for
here.
an overview.
and it's a touch screen, and it'll start playing the wireless technology forum video.
Is it only triggered by touch, or could you say, what are my options? Or could you even say, in help, you can ask to play a video?
I could have programmed it that way. I chose not to because I didn't want the video thing to come up when you can't play video in this thing.
Right.
Could you set it up to say, for instance, play last week's video? Or could I say, play the video from last month? We don't.
Yes, yes, you can do that. You've got to do an RSS feed to do that.
Subscribe,
Or you have to have an API call to do that. I think we're still defining voice search right
Thank
now.
you.
I
Okay,
don't
that's kind of
think that.
It's not just one thing. It's not just talking into your phone.
Right.
Alexa, voice search
It's
is
what you
multiple
want it
things.
to be.
In this case, it's not really search. You're using your voice to talk to an app.
But it could
You're
be
not
a
searching.
car,
it's not
could be
search,
a
it's
You're not
voice.
searching anything.
See, that's I think what
You're giving your commands
Right.
via voice as opposed to touching it.
commands via voice. So
Right. You're
screen
not.
those
There's no
devices.
search.
But she called it voice search.
No, I didn't.
No.
She was like,
No, wasn't it voice search the new frontier?
No, that's
It's
not the name of my,
it's
no, Alexa
voice
Skills
the
is the
next
next
frontier.
frontier. Alexa.
Voice.
No, I did
I'm
not.
sorry, I always probably said search and everything.
No, I did not say that.
Voice
Ever.
Voice activated commands.
Yes,
Voice the new frontier.
Yeah.
Voice is the new
Voice.
frontier.
You just
Voice
I
told me.
never
is
said
the
voice
frontier.
search is the new frontier. Y'all put words in my mouth now.
okay, so what are some good resources to follow up to learn more about voice?
Learn.
Okay.
Okay, how to develop for Alexa. That's the big thing that Amazon's pushing right now, developing for Alexa. And that's why I put that together. So, I mean, obviously there are a ton of resources and there are a ton of people calling themselves experts in voice search out there today who aren't. And there are a ton of people out there who call them SEO experts out there today who aren't.
Right.
Okay.
There's a lot of crossover and a lot of misnomers and a lot of
Yeah.
A lot
So
of
it's
confusion.
not
A lot
a
of
defined thing like HTML5 or something. It's not a.
right.
It's what we're
It's the
making.
wild,
of
wild
it.
west still.
It
Absolutely, and it's changing every day. That's why I
Which
said
means
it's,
there's a lot of opportunities.
there is
Yeah.
constant updates, even just
That's
within
sugar.
what we can control. There's a lot of changes.
Very cool.
Yay.
Thank you
Great
so
job.
much.
Thank you.